Broomfield, Colorado, just before Christmas. And for one family, things are about to go horribly wrong.
Broomfield Police, Sky.
Yes, hi there. I need to report threatening emails and phone calls from a stalking ex, and just didn't know what would be the appropriate course here.
Do you live in Broomfield?
I live in Broomfield. I have no idea where he is.
That's okay. What's your address?
My address is 3132 Promontory Loop.
Okay. And is there a restraining order in place between you two?
There's not, but I would definitely be curious about getting one, considering it's been threatened with violence against both me and my family.
Okay. And is it text messages, phone calls?
I have text messages and an email today that had a picture of my husband threatening to put something in his tailpipe.
Oh, okay. This is your ex?
Yes, from 20 years ago, who stalked me for 20 years.
Okay. Is this ex a male or a female?
Male.
Okay. Okay. So then he's threatening violence against you and your family, correct?
Correct. He told me that I should kill myself, and then he said that he sure hopes my husband drives safe and he doesn't have anything in his tailpipe.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Kristil, Officer Henry.
This woman has been receiving threatening emails for months, and they've escalated into real life.
Very good to meet you. I talked to Detective Martinez, so I kind of have an idea what's going on.
Yes, I did as well. I did not see any markings on the car.
Okay.
You can see like it's a little bit dirty, so I didn't see red marks, but...
And was it in the house or the garage or where?
This was at Golden Bradley Village in Westminster, so
Okay.
it's parked out in the parking lot.
Nothing jumps out at me.
I know, I didn't either. I'm hoping it's just meant to mess with me.
Fortunately, this is rare, but if somebody does do something weird like this, it's usually obvious.
Yeah, but like my street looks like this all the time. There's no one out there. Like I know the normal cars.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he's following me from.
When did he pop back up?
So first text message was back in October.
Okay.
Just threats.
Just out of nowhere? Just
He
pop
does
back?
this. He does
Okay.
this, and he's been doing it for over 20 years.
Okay. So this is,
This is the first time it's this violent. The only other one is that he had taken a picture of my husband getting out of his vehicle.
Where?
In Denver.
Okay.
Her stalker is following her, taking photos of her husband and threatening to kill. It's driving Kristil to the brink.
So I told Detective Martinez I am going out today to grab, to get one of the nice higher-end cameras, so I can get a dash cam and rear cam, and one that is constantly feeding to the cloud, and motion sensing, so even when my car is off, I can hopefully catch this guy on camera.
A suburban mother hunted by a ghost. And when the worst happens, this stalker seems to be right at the center of it.
This stalker that knew exactly where she was and how she was doing things, and I'm like, motherfucking evil genius.
What are you terrified of? If it wasn't him, who was it? I don't care if you capture him. I don't care if you kill him. Find him.
Hands on your face! Hands on your face!
A stalker, a digital trail of breadcrumbs, and a chilling mystery that turned deadly. Here on The Decoder, we've gone through hundreds of hours of exclusive footage to bring you the harrowing story of Kristil Krug. "43-year-old Kristil has lived in Colorado all her life. Born in Boulder and studying biochemical engineering at 2 prestigious Colorado colleges. Now she's living in Broomfield, near Denver, with her husband and her 3 children, aged 14, 11, and 8. She has a good career working remotely in tech, having built for herself the kind of solid, stable life many people dream of. But there's someone out there who's envious of this life and wants to be involved by any means necessary. On October 2nd, 2023, she gets a strange text. It's from a man named Anthony, asking if she wants to hook up. Anthony Holland is an ex-boyfriend.
I did a timeline for you. Okay. And in this timeline, we dated summer of 99.
Okay.
Very briefly. Like there was a breakup somewhere here, like in the fall. So I do this kind of like also by, you can see like way over here.
Yeah.
Last contact I ever had with him where he tried to reach out to me personally, saw him in person, would have been like in the spring of 2001. Everything here you're going to see in question marks because I'm like, about? I'm just trying to remember like where I was living and where I had kids at the time. So I put everything in green where they're like, just like little teeny things. It's like, oh, hey, how you doing? Found me on old information. So it's public information. Technically, I can't say that like he found me in a special way.
Yeah.
But it was years later, right, that he came back with a quick email trying to check in. And these events here last maybe like within a period of a couple weeks. Usually it's a handful of email messages. Usually it's just like light, easy, like
Okay,
what's
how
going
you-
on.
yeah.
Yeah, like trying to like, yeah, just kind of start a conversation. But it's all light, cordial, whatever. This one got really weirdly obsessive. So same kind of thing where like common little teeny little messages. And then after just a period of few messages, he's like, oh, my family's so happy we're talking again. I'm like, what?
We're not talking.
This is not a
Yeah.
relationship. And then like he'd send me snippets of like saying he thought our relationship was like the Notebook and that we'd always end up together. I'm like, whoa, this is getting really weird, right?
At what point did
And-
you get married?
So I met my husband all the way here in the summer of 2001, and then I got we were together all the way through college, and then I got married in 2007.
She's married to a man named Daniel Krug, who's also 43 and works in finance for the Department of Public Health. She found Anthony's attention creepy, not seductive.
So I shut it down real hard. I said, this is really creepy for me. You need to stop. I'm married, happily married with children. You need to stop. And he got like real emotional, real hurt. It wasn't angry, but it was hurt and real like over the top emotions. And then blocked me on, because you can see when somebody blocks you on Facebook. And I'm like, good. And I blocked him and and then I shut down Facebook entirely before the pandemic. So like there was no way to get a hold of me on any kind of old email address or old way, and that's when this starts. What is important is that it started October 2nd and 3rd. Let's see, these things, unfortunately, and I apologize, this one of these is going to get really graphic. But this was the first day of contacting me. Again, this was the type of message that I always got before.
Okay.
The only thing that was really alarming about this one was I was like, what do you mean you looked me up? And I immediately got a sense of this something is not, especially after this last interaction where I'm like, you're pretty delusional and you're coming out again of the woodworks and now going above and beyond to really find me. And then when I didn't respond, and so this is on Monday at 1, and when I don't respond, then immediately the next day it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Right? And then, okay, so I got alarmed, and you'll see it in the text message. All I did was I was like, oh, we're going to create a stalker log. We're going to monitor this. I'm going to go see what information I can have. Then things go dark, right? And this is when I then contact you guys because this now is escalating. This is not just threats against me. It's threats against my husband. He contacts me, and you'll see my little log that this is an email address he contacts me now from more frequently, like he actually reuses it. But he is now showing that picture that day. There's snow on the ground. My husband had only gone into work on that Tuesday for Halloween. I can tell because of the timing when my husband left work. We know that was the morning.
Got it. Okay.
Fortunately, even though my husband has a camera in his car, he did not see anybody.
Sure.
And then unfortunately lost all the video because he didn't save it. So.
Not only is this stalker sending abusive, sexual, and threatening material to Kristil, but he's now stepped out of the virtual sphere and into the real world. The danger feels tangible. He knows all sorts of strange details about her life, like that her license plate is expired, but her husband's is not. 3 days after she sits down with the cops, she has to call them again. Her stalker has apparently vandalized her car after following her to the dentist.
No car that keeps popping up that you can think of that's like, hey, it's weird, I saw X car or anything like that.
Well, I ran a background check on him,
Okay.
and I know what vehicle he drives, and I never see that vehicle, but it's the most nondescript vehicle.
The Camry?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this would be my next question.
Yeah.
Are you sure he is actually putting eyes on you and following you, or is he just saying stuff that's specific but general enough that you're like, ooh. Like...
So the only way that I could think of that this event that he would be able to say what he did without putting eyes on me is if he had a tracker on my phone and my phone picked up literally in that building and it didn't pick up any of the other surrounding buildings. But otherwise, like where I parked and then where I went to tell me that I went into my dentist.
Yeah, that's
on
a
that
little
street
weird.
when there's like so many other businesses there. The in-person stuff that's scaring the crap out of me and why I logged this was starting since last Tuesday, and it's been almost every day since.
Okay.
I've gotten a few days break.
And it's always been text message, or has it been
and emails.
email? Okay.
And he's changing his phone number every single time he text messages me too.
Okay.
Except for this last one on Friday, he used the same email string for an illicit picture that he sent me earlier on Friday.
All right.
So I think he's got spoof numbers.
Yeah, and anymore, that's so
Common.
that's so easy to do. It's not
Yeah.
not like the old days where you had to be a
Like
IT genius to be able to figure out how to do that. Now it's,
now you can buy it.
yeah, you can download an app on your phone and do that.
Without pinning down the exact source of the abusive messages, it's proving virtually impossible to get the stalker to stop. In the meantime,
So,
Thank you.
I would recommend, like I said, just make sure you're keeping doors closed,
Yep.
locked, all that good stuff.
All the time. We've
okay.
got cameras now
Okay.
everywhere around the property.
I'm just trying to
I'll
think
get
of anything
the
else I could
antenna.
recommend to you to try to help.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm going to also get my permit for my concealed carry. So, yes, I will be making sure I am protected.
and those are one of those things I can't be like, oh, go buy yourself a gun, but if you want to fool around, you can find out. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you.
all right, you're very welcome.
Appreciate
All right,
it.
and then if
Bye.
anything else, if all of a sudden something weird happens, or all of a sudden you go, oh God, how did we miss that, or something like that, call us. Don't wash it. Call us. We'll let us know. Even if I thought there was something, we'd swab it and test it and see what happened. But I don't even see anything to do that with. So,
as Kristil gets more and more nervous, so does her husband, Dan. He's the one being followed, photographed, and threatened with murder. This comes out at work.
You had talked to Stan about this employee of yours, Dan Krug.
Yes.
So what can you tell me about it?
About Dan, I can tell you a lot about what I know, but the situation in particular that I was telling Stan about is that, probably had to have been not too long before Thanksgiving last year. Dan came into my office. I directly supervised Dan. He was my employee, and he came into my office to give me an update on the situation with his stalker at the time, and was particularly agitated that day. I think it was his first day back in the office after a period of time, and was just talking to me about what he was going through, about the fact that he'd been kind of sent out in his mind into the world as sort of bait, is the way that he seemed to describe it to me. And as he was in my office, he got very emotional and got teary, and then pulled out a baton that he showed me that he was using as something just to protect himself in case something happened.
Yeah, Mr. Krug has shared a little bit of what's going on. It's real unfortunate. What's going on with him and his wife and this individual. So
Yeah.
With Dan a possible target, the police sit down to talk with him too.
She dated him prior to a relationship with me. So that ended sometime before the summer of 2001. That's when Kristil and I started dating. She and I got married in 2007.
And I guess at what point did she tell you that he recontacted her this last time?
It was either November 1st or November 2nd. It was after she had gotten a picture of me at work.
Okay.
She brought me up to speed on that.
Gotcha, okay. And the first contact that he initially made with her was back on October 2nd. I guess why that month gap, do you think, before she told you?
I'm trying to remember from some of the details from the log that she's keeping. I'm guessing that it was creepy, but not real.
He reveals that their relationship hasn't been perfect recently, and the stalker hasn't been helping with that.
Lots of people are jerks online.
Sure.
Other than that, I'm sure she has mentioned to you that she and I are going through a rough patch, kind of on the rocks, so probably didn't seem that pressing until it was.
Sure, okay. And she didn't mention that to me, that you guys were having a rough time currently.
I'm married, happily married with children.
Are you guys in the process of separating, getting divorced, or working through things?
To be determined.
Gotcha.
We still live together. We have our kids, our house, finances. We are one. Rocky. Marriages have up and downs. Rocky patch. This is not helping.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have been together a long time still, 20-some years, so that in of itself is an accomplishment. Is there any reason to suspect that Kristil is not being honest in any of this?
No.
No.
I know her. No.
Dan remains fiercely defensive of his family.
My brother, Matthew, is a cop, so I have a retractable asp steel baton.
Yeah.
As I said, not right now, but otherwise, it's on me all the time. I sleep with it next to me. Pepper, gel, spray, always in this pocket, asp always in this one. I've bought some additional security cameras for the house.
With tech companies dragging their feet to share the relevant data, the investigators suggest they might have to do something drastic to get this to stop.
Again, just kind of playing the game of chess. We're just trying to figure something out to draw him out. Eventually, it might come down to Kristil actually reaching out to him and setting up an open-air meeting somewhere public where we would be sitting there 3 hours ahead of the meeting time, and then we would arrange her to come at the meeting time, and then we would wait like 3 hours after to see who's coming and going. So that would be kind of an all-day process for us. Hopefully it doesn't get there. I'm just trying to brainstorm ideas to draw him out. I also have legal court order paperwork into various tech companies for GPS data, stuff like that. Problem is, this guy's not very trackable.
Yeah, that's what her PI said.
But we do have a lot of resources that we're tapping into. I can assure you we're doing everything we can to try to track this down.
I believe you.
And
the idea of her having to reach out, I know you'd be there, makes me sick.
I don't want to do that if we can avoid it. So that's going to be like the plan of last resort if not everything is working.
Dan resists the idea of putting his wife in what he sees as further danger, even though the cops would be there every step of the way. But it's looking increasingly like their only option. Even though he was followed to work, he can't describe anything about the stalker or his car.
Oh, and then Halloween, when you did go to the office that day.
Yes.
And that picture was taken of you getting out of your car. Do you remember any cars passing by when you were getting out or anything like that?
I don't park there anymore, but I always parked on that side. It's against Cherry Creek Drive.
Okay.
So it's against the busiest road.
Sure.
And it's building A, and today's Thursday, you were on site. There were probably multiple board and commission meetings, because there always are. There are always people walking around, and always cars.
Yeah.
And I pay zero attention.
Could have been anything.
It was just another day for me.
The stalker is as elusive as a ghost. Throughout November, the messages continue to escalate. He posts an ad on the dark web, inviting men to assault her on her birthday. He also talks about saving Kristil from her marriage and suggests that she come and live with him and his girlfriend on the East Coast after murdering her husband herself. You know how to get me when he dead. It's like he wants to drive a wedge between Kristil and Dan, and she doesn't feel like the police are helping anymore.
Did say she felt like she was all on her own, that the police were no longer her friends. She just felt like they just kind of backed off of the whole stalking investigation. And those were her quote-unquote words. The police were no longer her friends or on her side anymore. The way it sounded, that she just didn't feel like they were taking it seriously anymore. Which makes me so angry. Because she did tell, she would say that, every morning when she would make her kids lunch, she would wonder if that would be the last time she'd do it.
Her family are looking on, powerless to help as she becomes paranoid and afraid.
I said, can I stop by and talk to you? Because I need to talk to you. And she came over and she was just visibly upset. And we sat down in the kitchen and she said, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm being stalked. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that I have a feeling that part of the defense is going to be she either participated with the stalker or created the stalking situation, or that she was involved with a sex ad and things like that. But she came over and told me, and like I said, just visibly shaken and upset, I'm being stalked. And at first I go, well, what does that mean? Someone just hanging out in front of your house or whatever? And then she got into a little bit and says that, and it's vicious, nasty, perverted stuff I'm getting, and I'm actually afraid this guy's going to hurt me. So it was obviously not something that she was participating in. And so I'm trying to get more information. She goes, I think it's this guy Anthony that I knew when I was 18. And I go, yeah, I remember Anthony. A couple of pictures of Anthony when he's been over to the house.
Yeah.
And he's wanting to get back together, and he's doing his stuff, and now he's sending me these really pornographic, nasty messages. And I go, well, have you told the police about this? She says, yes, I have filed a police report, and they're taking it seriously. But I wanted you to know about it too, so because I'm afraid and I don't know what to do. And I go, well, if that's the case, we need to get you some protection, and I'll. We'll set you up with being able to use a firearm and do some things like that, so that you at least feel like you can protect yourself. Her birthday's November 24th.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what do you want for your birthday? And then what do you want for Christmas? She says, well, what I really like is one of those really nice concealed carry purses.
Yeah.
She's also feeling alone in her marriage, according to her father.
She told me, she goes, and I think I pretty much decided I am going to proceed with a divorce from Dan. I go, oh, okay. So one of the things that really bothers me, said, is he just doesn't take this stalking thing seriously. It doesn't seem to bother him at all. I'm telling him that I'm afraid, and he's just blowing it off, and it's not bothering him, even though it appears that he's been threatened by this stalker too. It doesn't even faze him, and it doesn't bother him that I'm upset about it. So, and she said, we had marriage vows. He's supposed to be the one I can go to get help and everything. He's just blowing this off like it's no big deal.
Dan seemed to have been taking it seriously in his interview with the police. Maybe he's been putting on a brave face for his wife and children, trying to hide how much it's affecting him. But it's only been pushing Kristil further away. And there's nothing Dan will regret more than letting this stalker drive him and his wife apart. December 14th, 2023. At just after midday, the Broomfield Police Department receives a 911 call from Dan Krug.
Hi there. My name is Dan Krug. I don't think this is an emergency, but this feels really weird. My wife isn't responding to text messages or phone calls.
Okay.
We've had threats against us. She was supposed to meet with Detective Martinez today, but I can't get a hold of him. Can I get either someone in the house to check in with Martinez, or maybe both, maybe a wellness check at the house?
Yeah, we can go check the house. What's the address?
She texted me like, I don't know, 3-ish hours ago, and I've asked her multiple questions since then, and she's not responding.
Oh, okay. What was going on when you talked to her about 3 hours ago? Was she okay? What was she having any medical things? Anything going on?
She asked me to pick up our daughter from school because she had to meet with Martinez. Martinez knows knows all of this. We have both been targeted by a stalker.
Okay.
Threats have been made against my life.
Okay.
And threatening to like kidnap her, which is why I'm nervous that she's not answering me.
Not hearing anything from Kristil for a few hours is enough to make him panic. It turns out for good reason.
Hello.
Oh, I was just, I'm their neighbor, and they called me. They're like, can you go see if she'll answer the
Oh, yeah, he sent us as well, so. Just next door? Okay.
All right, well, you got this.
Alrighty, man. Appreciate it.
There's no answer at the front door when the police knock.
Oh. 151, send medical, and 110. I need a 4th sentry. I got a female down in the garage. Broomfield Police! Broomfield Police! Oh, shit.
Kristil is unresponsive, and the house is empty.
Guys, you see anything other than a fall type of wound?
Look at this. What's that gash on the chest?
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. Yep, that's a stab wound on the chest.
Damn it.
She's been murdered. Dan has called Kristil's mom in the meantime, and she's arrived on the scene with no idea what she's about to see.
Ma'am! I need you to come over here for a minute, okay, so we can work. I understand. I need you to come on over here, okay? Is her husband almost here?
Is he? Is she gone?
We want to give you guys all the information all together, okay? We don't want to have to repeat the information over and over for you guys to continue anything, so.
He said he was on.
And you're her mother, you said? Okay. Okay, just hang tight for a minute, okay? So sorry for that.
He was in a mess, but...
Understand.
We want to make sure he gets here safely, okay? Where are you on I-25? They want us all here to tell us before they say anything. 15, 20 minutes. You're 15, 20 minutes away.
Okay.
The ambulance came and then pulled away.
Okay. Just hang tight for a second. I know I keep saying it, but just hold on for a little bit longer, okay?
Dan arrives a few minutes later. This is a family that's been torn apart, and it's clear the stalker had something to do with it. He's proven himself to be technologically savvy, being able to cloak his IP address and avoid police detection for so long. It would take someone who knows what he's doing to dodge Dan's security measures, or just someone who's been watching them for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know the backstory. Husband said there was a dude who's been stalking her and threatened to kidnap her.
Where's this
And
dude
Martinez
from?
was involved, and Martinez just said, hey, this is a
Gym
big
or
old...
something?
I don't know, dude. I don't know the history on that part. Martinez does, though, and he said he's coming in. So, like I told him, you can see if Butler needs photos with this big old house. Other than that, we're just kind of securing the scene and waiting for detectives, you know?
Yeah, no,
see what they need. I kicked that, yeah.
No,
that's interesting. Yeah, that is very interesting. Almost like dude might have stuck around from this way and...
I wonder if maybe the door was unlocked, that's how he got in.
And I came around and booted the front door. It turns out it wasn't locked. There's also a piece of masking tape over the ring camera. Almost like somebody approached from the side and taped it.
Okay.
And then maybe she opened the door for somebody.
It's like you hit her from behind while she's right here.
Yeah, that's exactly it. She falls there.
That's why there's a void. He rolled it over.
And then he stabs her afterwards. You right in the heart.
Because there's not a whole lot of blood on her chest.
No, they definitely think that was after.
It's like the blood
Yes,
stopped
she was
pumping
on
from
her back when that occurred.
Yeah.
And that's why there's not a pool of blood.
It seems that Kristil's fears have come true, despite all the measures she and Dan had taken to keep themselves safe.
And who has the ability to turn off the cameras? Who has the ability to go in the app and turn things off?
Kristil, me, and God,
It's all right. It's all right, Dan.
and house phone.
House phone.
The stalker has evaded the police, and now he's managed to get around the security cameras too. He even seemed to know Dan's work schedule and when he'd be gone from the house.
Dan, when did you leave the house? Guess. Approximate.
8:20. It's on the count.
You said 8:20, and you left in which vehicle?
Mine.
Which is a?
Black monster.
Okay. 8:24 sound right?
Okay.
You left out of the garage?
Always. Is your car in the garage at the time? Yeah. She was rushing me at the door. I was late leaving. She told me I had to go because she had a meeting. She was rushing me, and I went. She was in the kitchen. She was in the kitchen. How long were we supposed to be in the office today? Was supposed to be there until 3, but she texted me asking me to pay. So I canceled or skipped my my CFO meeting. And then I left her for this. And you couldn't get a hold of her. She sent you that text. And that's as much contact as you have with her today. I panicked when the check marks weren't there.
Where Kristil's mom says Dan wasn't taking the stalker seriously, Dan says it was the opposite, that Kristil wasn't letting him.
What's your guys' interactions been like leading up to this?
I felt like she was keeping secrets. Why? She didn't tell me about Kickman. She keeps disappearing for hours. I told you she can't keep secrets.
Kickman is his daughter's nickname for the stalker.
We call him Kickman.
Kickman? How come?
Doesn't deserve a name.
Yeah.
And said, Mommy's gonna kick his ass. So he's Kickman.
Do you think she was meeting with people? Meeting with one person or anything like that?
I asked if there was anyone. She said no.
So you said the cameras are on all the time?
Yeah.
Looks like about 8:15, a lot of them go off.
It takes Dan a long time to answer this question. Maybe he's struggling to understand how all the precautions he took could have failed him so badly.
The side yard, the signal gets weak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying a booster, but that one gets interrupted, but they don't turn off.
In the end, his answer doesn't satisfy.
That's the view.
About 8:15. It goes off last.
It's not supposed to go off like this.
And then it comes back at
They're all hardwired.
10.
I know you said that you don't think that there was somebody else.
She said, okay. Why do you keep asking that?
I'm just trying to put everything together to kind of get a bigger picture, because you said she's been acting kind of weird lately, and being very secretive and withholding of information for you. So I'm just trying to understand, I guess, so we can backtrack what she's been doing this past month.
Do you need anything right now? Do you want some water or?
This is a nightmare. I just want to come down. I want to hold my kids. Let's just get through it.
Okay.
Dan is living out a nightmare. He last saw Kristil when he left for work at 8, and only 4 hours later, she was dead. But he's not the only one left devastated in this situation. Kristil's whole family are shaken to their core.
This isn't real. This isn't real yet. No, it's not real. No, it can't be. Anthony, was it really her stalker?
Let's kind of, if we can start with, just give me an insight of what your daughter's life looked like.
Her life was hell these last months and last year. Her husband and her were not on good terms. He could get, Dan is explosive, but I've never seen him, hurt her. He would hurt the kids, but, some people think the corporal punishment is okay with the kids. But he would hurt the kids. She was worried about that. She told me their marriage was over in September. We had a chat about that. She didn't know how to leave, and she couldn't leave because she couldn't leave the kids alone with Dan. She didn't feel comfortable leaving them alone with him.
Dan and Kristil's marriage sounds worse than ever, and the stalker wasn't helping.
It wasn't a good situation in their marriage, and here in the last few months, she just loathed him. But she was like, no, she had to stay for the kids. And she could stay, and then this whole thing with Anthony, or this stalker situation came. She's been trying to deal with that. She has a really intensive job that's just, she works from home, but it's real intense. A lot of pressure, but she's like a type A. She just puts so much pressure on herself. She was separating her stuff in the house.
Okay. They were both still staying there? Okay.
She felt she had to stay.
Okay.
For the kids' sake. And I kept saying, well, why can't we find him? Certainly they can track his IP addresses. She goes, well, he keeps changing his emails and phone numbers and all this stuff. So she says they just can't track him down. They don't know where he is. Anyway, she was so scared of him. She really felt like it was him. She told me that, Dan was not doing her any favors. He says he would go in and say that she's making it all up in her head. And
so Dan was aware of the entire stalking going on.
But she felt like he just didn't really take it seriously.
Okay.
But I don't know, maybe he didn't take it seriously as she wanted him to. Was it really Anthony? Because we all kind of was wondering. Was really Dan?
And what
made us think
what made you think that, or that he was capable of?
Well, Anthony and I know how to do a third tier type of tracking, right? I mean, like layering of these emails and these IP addresses and that, and phone numbers. She paid to try to track those phone numbers, but they always ended up in a dead end of somebody else.
Okay. Did you ever talk to her about your concerns that maybe it wasn't actually Anthony?
Yeah, but my daughter could be explosive, and so I would try not to, she'd get angry pretty fast.
The police have never actually been able to pin down Anthony Holland as the stalker. This was the reason they weren't able to stop him. Now, that seems like a fatal mistake.
I would like to go back to one thing that you said, and that was that she was working so hard for this not to happen.
Yeah. She was taking all these self-defense classes. She was working
with Detective Martinez, and her dad was talking to some detectives in Lafayette. They were trying to track this down. She paid to have the extra stuff to track the phone numbers, to try to track this Anthony, to try to find him. Because I guess you guys couldn't find Anthony. You couldn't locate him. Which just made me more and more suspicious of, was this really Anthony? And she kept saying, oh no, Mom, he's smart enough to do this. I go, okay.
Today, you had said, I believe you had said Dan called you?
Yeah, I have a record. He called me at noon and said that he couldn't get a hold of Kristil, that Kristil was supposed to.
Can I see? Is there a call log?
Yeah, he told me at noon, right there.
12:09. And
he said that he couldn't get a hold of Kristil, but he was really nervous. And, could I go? He was really, really upset. Could I go and see, check it out, and find out what was going on? And so I tried to call her. I have that log here. I called my son, and then I tried to call her.
Dan isn't close to his wife's mom. Kristil's parents are divorced, and her dad is remarried. She gets along well with both sides of her family, but Dan keeps to himself. On December 14th, however, like maybe he suspects just how grave the situation is, it's Kristil's mom he calls.
Dan doesn't normally call me.
Okay.
I mean, unless it's an emergency. But we talk. I mean, it's not like I never call Dan.
When you say he was panicked, what does that sound like to you?
Well, for him, he's always got a steady, cool voice. And this one sounded like he was like panicked. He was nervous that something had happened to her.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's just because they've been on high alert with Anthony, this Anthony scare and threat.
Kristil's brother provides the police with some background that same day.
Some issues with Dan, like marital troubles and stuff like that. And just maybe, I don't know if you necessarily know anything anymore about that, but they just also just kind of mentioned you guys are kind of close, and just see if maybe some sort of insight on that at all.
Insight on their marriage?
Or just, was there issues going on? Were they having problems? Was there, kind of anything that was kind
of... yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. She had shared with me that they had separated.
Okay.
But we're still living together a year ago.
A year ago?
Yeah.
Like a year ago, December?
Oh, I don't know.
Or
it was like back
approximately.
It was back in September that we had that talk. So.
And that they had been separated for a year.
Yeah, and they had been sleeping in the same bed. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Under the pressure of the stalker, their marriage was breaking apart, and now Kristil is forever out of reach. That stalker was using Anthony's name. Now that she's dead, exigent circumstances mean that the police have far less problems collecting his data and determining his location. Anthony Holland is in Utah, where he's been for the last few months.
Hello?
Hello, Anthony?
Yes.
How's it going? I'm Detective Martinez with the Broomfield Police. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today?
Doing all right.
I just want to know how this all happened, because I haven't, I know a little bit, something about Kristil and her husband and stalking charge. I haven't been to Colorado since 2016, so it's like, I don't know how that can be possible, and that's all I know.
Okay. Yeah, so there was, again, you're not in any sort of trouble, but we're just trying to piece this together because your name's been thrown around as somebody who had been here recently. So we're just trying to show that, in fact, you've been in Utah this whole time.
I've been in Idaho the whole time since, and then I just moved to Utah in February.
He's a server working at Texas Roadhouse while he studies cloud computing, and Kristil hasn't even crossed his mind in years.
When's the last time you saw Kristil?
Last time I saw her was like 2000 when we broke up.
Okay, all right. And then, so not yesterday, but Thursday, Do you remember this past Thursday?
What day did the cops come to my house? Friday or Thursday?
Thursday night, the 14th.
Yeah, Thursday night. That's when I went downtown. Yeah.
You went downtown? Where's downtown there?
Salt Lake.
Were you with anybody?
Yeah, I was with Miguel. Yeah, Thursday was when the other officer called me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he could vouch that I was here, can't he?
Right, but he was only there for a few minutes with you, right?
The cops showed up at my house Thursday night, so they know I was in Utah.
Right.
So you're thinking I drove from Utah to Colorado on Thursday night?
Well, I'm trying to show you that you weren't here Thursday morning.
Oh yeah, I wasn't there Thursday morning. I was taking a nap when the cops showed up. And they showed up like afternoon, like 2 in the afternoon. But I have Miguel's number right here. I also have the people I live with. Sure. They can confirm I was there Thursday morning too.
His sister has pictures of him taken at Halloween, the same day Dan was followed at work. He was 2 states away.
The pictures of Halloween show that he's here on the 31st.
They check with the rest of his family and his employers.
Between December 13th and 14th, do you guys remember Anthony being here?
Yeah, he didn't have any place he went. Meaning, did you do anything unusual as far as his schedule? No, he didn't. He had the same normal schedule he always did.
But there was no random absence of time?
No.
To your knowledge, has Anthony made any trips back to Colorado this year?
No, not at all.
The only place he's been is
Idaho.
His sisters.
Everyone agrees Anthony has not been to Colorado. The stalker wasn't him. So who was it? There's tension mounting in Dan's household that night. Kristil's brother's wife and Dan have been arguing, particularly about the kids.
You want to make sure the kids are always safe, right?
Right.
So you don't want to...
Yeah, so they're going to be staying here. We're taking care of them.
Yes, and he can't be alone with the children.
But we understand that.
So we want to make sure you are okay being a part of that safety plan?
Yes, we are.
Dan ultimately signed something to this effect.
So what we're asking for right now is that your dad, he's going to be around a lot. He's probably going to be safe. But you guys can't be alone with him, just to make sure everybody's safe. And your dad's in agreement with that.
But he warns the family that they should be careful.
He said that he felt like we all shouldn't be talking to one another, that we shouldn't be sharing details about anything with regards to her murder or with regards to, like, the case, that we basically should stop talking to one another. He said that the detectives aren't to be trusted, that particularly you, Detective Martinez, is not to be trusted.
Kristil had been feeling the same way about the cops, according to her stepmom.
She just said that it seemed after they brought her husband down in for an interview. After that interview, she said it felt like everybody just kind of deserted her, she said, or that she felt like she was on her own.
Okay.
So she felt, I don't know, and she even said, I think she even said she felt like Dan maybe sabotaged her during her interview.
Her lack of trust in the police was somehow wrapped up in her lack of trust in Dan. With her marriage on the rocks, this was maybe understandable. But the police aren't just going to give up the stalker angle now that they've cleared Anthony's name. Someone was sending those messages. That someone had an IP address, no matter how hard they tried to hide it. And when the police traced that IP address, it led finally and inevitably to just one place: the work computer of Daniel Krug. This is the missing piece of the puzzle. Kristil's marriage was falling apart not just because of their arguments about the kids, but because she couldn't trust him anymore. In those final few days, she suspected the worst possible truth, that her stalker had been her husband all along. Her family had suspected this too.
Because I knew it upset her. But she knew when I was asking questions about, well, how late is this picture of Anthony? Are you sure it's Anthony? Because I've just had suspicions that it might have been Dan.
My mom has always been, like, suspicious, and I just, like, don't know where that comes from.
Okay.
Can you elaborate on that? Like suspicious how or?
My mom?
Yeah.
Suspicious. I don't know, because like the difficulty finding Anthony. Like, why is it so hard to find Anthony? Why can't either, cell phone records or IP stuff? So my mom was very frustrated with the inability to locate one person who is so frequently contacting my sister. Like, why is that such a difficult thing to do? So my mom had that frustration, and so I think her mind starts to wander towards like conspiracy type things, right? Of like, oh, maybe it's the husband, or maybe it's Dan, and I don't know. I don't see it there just because I don't know. Dan just seems so incapable of doing something like that to me.
Because I guess there was a threat against Dan, and the police came to Dan's work and escorted him away.
Okay.
And then there was, something that she said that, Dan didn't know about Anthony until he said that he didn't know anything about the threat of Anthony until the 1st of November. And I said, 1st of November? We talked the 1st of October, and I thought you said Dan was saying, no, this is not a big deal. So there were just a couple of things like, I thought Dan knew already.
We all know that Dan's under suspicion. So just setting aside the culprit, my daughter was going to get divorced from Dan.
Okay.
She couldn't stand him. He was too volatile with the kids. And she told me that she was going to just live in the basement because she couldn't get enough proof that Dan was being volatile to the kids. I don't know, he did tell her that she needed to leave. She needed to get out of the house twice. And then Thanksgiving, she sent us a text that I guess you guys had interviewed him, and he basically threw her under the bus, is what she said. And so she texted both my son and me and said, Dan is no longer a friendly person, and you need to please be careful with what you say with him. And she says, our marriage is done, and I'm trying to get him to work this through, but I can't. I want full custody of the kids, but I can't prove that he's actually doing it. I mean, there were shoes thrown. There was, having problems, and Dan can get pretty violent when he gets angry, when he rages. So, and then he's just so damn manipulative. And so,
Can you give me more insight on what you mean by that?
Well, he tries to make you feel that he's the victim and that you're wrong. And, there's almost sometimes he'll get really syrupy sweet, but you can see and feel underneath this kind of menacing type attitude.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel good, right? You can tell he's seething with anger.
Another key point emerges, that for all his precautions against this supposed stalker, he was careless with their security.
The security system was not on because my son asked him, could he share, if they had the security system, couldn't they identify? Because my daughter had cameras everywhere, and she would never shut off security. She was so, at this point, kind of almost, she was terrorized. And she would never do that. Safety was number one for her. And she'd get after Dan because Dan was just being so lackadaisical in the security for them.
How else had the security cameras ended up switched off in that crucial 2-hour period?
They did that just to sting him, or tried to. They tried to get him to show up at her work. Yeah.
That new husband?
No, the stalker.
Supposedly his husband is fairly tech savvy. They would know how to maybe hide emails and do dummy accounts and all that type of stuff. Like the kids.
Unless he'd done it deliberately. Unless this was all part of his plan.
Why? In the whole time. In the whole time. In the whole time. In the whole time. It just seemed odd. Did you kill her, Dad? Did you kill her? Who killed my daughter? Oh, God.
That same afternoon, after Kristil's death, the cops sit down with him again. They want to know more about the couple's failing marriage and how the stalker fit in.
It hurt me that she didn't tell me about the stalker, but she brought me in right away once he sent her a picture of me. That was Thanksgiving, Halloween.
Okay.
So she told me the next day. I was definitely hurt and angry that she was keeping that as a secret.
So do you think she wanted to get a divorce, or do you think is that why she shut you down? Like, we're not doing anything until this is over. When you kind of had your epiphany of like, it sounds like you feel like you were completely, written off by her, or that she had zero care for you anymore.
I wanted a divorce.
Okay.
I've loved her for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was hurting when I said that. What I wanted was her to say she cared about me. She was ready for a divorce. So we talked about how do you divvy up the assets. We own 2 houses. On its face, that should be easy. We're both on both mortgages. That's a pain in the ass. So we were talking through how do you start to do that? And so I would say it was as amicable as it could be for 2 people who may or may not have really wanted it.
Okay. But you were just in talking stages. There wasn't any paperwork. There wasn't anything going on. And with all the cameras around there now, are you ever doing any checking up on her, seeing if that's? Again, I would do that if I thought my husband were hiding things from me or being a little shady.
That always felt kind of creepy to me.
Okay, you never did that. Come out of curiosity.
Everybody peeks.
Okay.
Push notifications on the phone. Dear God.
Every
time someone walks their dog down the side of the house. We're right next to the mailboxes every time the mailman comes. So there's so much noise that no.
Okay.
I don't monitor because there's noise.
Okay.
And my job consumes enough of my day. I don't have time to stew.
Okay. You've never seen her do it, or you don't know what it is. You guys just don't share things like that.
She has my passwords. I don't have this one. I have her old phone because we were in a better place. But since she got the new one, I have no idea.
Okay. So, who do you think killed her?
I think it's Kickman. I think it's Anthony.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's the first time anyone said that sentence.
I'm sorry to... Well, that's what happened, and that's why we're taking this so seriously.
I think it was Kickman. And Anthony. If not him, I have no other suggestion.
What if I told you that we had already spoken with Anthony, and there's no way that he was in town today?
And I'm terrified to bring my children.
What are you terrified of?
If it wasn't him, who was it? I replaced all of our locks after the garage intruder. I'll do it again. I got the cameras. I don't know who else.
They're testing his reactions. When they ask him for another suspect, he has no other ideas. But the cops do.
Remember how we talked, when I submit my legal paperwork, it takes a while. But because somebody was murdered today, we have the ability to tell them that, and then they will generally provide us with information immediately. That's what exigent circumstances means.
Okay.
Because we're trying to find the killer.
So some of that information that we've been able to receive today is a little bit, concerning, I guess. The Gmail account and you can speak more specifically.
And that text now number we were talking about, the number that he initially texted Kristil from.
Okay.
The Gmail account, the Kickman account that you guys initially received with the photo of you in it, and the phone number, those originated through their IP addresses at your office.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, he took the photo of me at my office.
Right, but both of those accounts originated from IP addresses that list back to your office.
This makes any sense.
And also, let's add on top of that the fact that there's, as far as we know right now, there's no physical way that Kickman could have been involved in this based on where he's at right now. So, the mystery continues, and
things are certainly pointing in one direction right now.
Daniel denies it all.
Maybe this started out the way that it was reported, and then maybe it turned into something different.
Because that would suggest that I would put my children through this.
You're afraid to lose time with them if you get the divorce.
Provide us a different explanation then. We know it's not Kickman. If you were watching these facts unfold in front of you in a movie, what would you say happened?
There has to be someone else.
That was able to turn off the cameras, that was able to access a password protected system to turn off cameras, that was able to use your IP address from your work to create accounts, to send messages and photos, to act as a stalking suspect. Well, tell me. Help me make sense of it.
And show you the number of people who joined in who are not state employees, who either showed up in the room or accessed us online. I don't have a narrative or a story that I can offer you. Because I thought we were on the same side.
We are on the same side.
Human nature, there are going to be volatile, heated, whatever word you want to use, moments in a relationship where you love someone and you don't feel it back. And I haven't heard a lot of that from you, although it sure sounds like she was accusing you of everything and not giving you any love or support or even making you feel like she cared. So there has to be more to your story even with her. I don't know. Did she tell you last night that she's done? She's moving out? That she has a boyfriend? Did you guys get in an argument?
Last night was calm.
The investigators are trying to press him into a corner. They want a confession.
I'd like to know what happened this morning. I'd like to know what caused you to get so upset to hurt your wife, because I believe that's what happened. Because there's no other logical explanation.
I want to know what happened. Did she get shot? Where was she in the house? Who said they were doing CPR in the garage? That's all I know. So tell me. Did she fight? Did she get shots on? Where is she in the house?
We haven't been there to know. And there's only one person in this room that can tell us. Because Detective King Sullivan and I have been here with you.
I think you know the answer to all those questions.
And Dan doesn't give them one. He continues to play the grieving husband, righteously demanding justice.
Find him. I don't care if you capture him. I don't care if you kill him. Find him. I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't know what I would testify when you convict him. I don't know. As a father, don't just assume it's me. Keep looking. Thank you.
But Dan is adept at deception, as the investigators go on to learn. Over the next 2 days, they spend hours poring over bank statements, CCTV footage, and phone records. A timeline begins to emerge. On April 10th, 2023, Dan bought a burner phone at Walmart. On October 2nd, a message was sent from that phone to Kristil, the first message from her so-called stalker. The IP address was a public library in Broomfield.
A case that it's complicated, but the short version is there's somebody using the internet here.
Okay.
To perpetrate some of this crime, and we're trying to prove that the person who's perpetrating the crime with that internet connection is our suspect.
On the same day, that same burner phone messaged Dan's own number saying, test. He replied, yeah. He was checking that messages were going through and that Kristil would receive them. The trail continues throughout November. Each one of the threatening texts and emails was sent from an IP address associated with Dan, including his work computer. That photograph taken of Dan outside his work? It was taken with the front-facing camera, the phone propped on another car. Then on December 13th, he made a Google search. How hard for head trauma to go unconscious? Kristil, when she was found the next day, had massive blunt force trauma to her head. Kristil was last seen on neighbors' security cameras at 7:57 a.m. Her house's security system went dark at 8:15. 4 minutes later, 2 text messages were recorded on her phone, both unsent, one to the detective handling her stalker case and one to her brother. They both read that she had been having an affair, framing Anthony, and trying to push Dan to suicide. They were written to suggest that she'd staged the whole thing herself, Gone Girl fashion, and that maybe this mysterious boyfriend, the one with whom she was apparently having an affair, had killed her to escape detection. It's a plot right out of a crime thriller. But here on the decoder, this is real life, and in real life, Dan was staging these texts himself. On his way to work, just before 9 a.m., he received a text from Kristil's phone, but records showed that her screen was inactive, meaning the text was pre-scheduled, and she was never heard from again. But looking at the evidence, one possible theory emerges. Perhaps on the morning of her murder, Kristil finally realized the truth, that the stalker she had feared for months was actually her husband. If that moment came, the stakes for Dan would have been higher than ever. Exposed, with his deception about to unravel, he may have felt he had no choice but to silence her permanently. Kristil was hit over the head with a blunt object multiple times and then stabbed in the heart. The police have not recovered the murder weapon. They believe Dan was lying in wait in the garage after she dropped the kids off at school. She was carrying her gun, but she never thought she'd need to use it against the man she'd shared her life with. On December 16th, the cops come for Dan.
Hands on your face! Hands on your face! Hands on your face! Hands on your face!
Do not move.
Your hands on your face! You want to toss? Make sure we're good on the car. You call custody. Yep.
Look at this.
What's that?
That's will and testament.
Is it?
No. He's like, you're gonna fucking off himself or some shit.
Is there a confession in there?
Hey Dan, do you want me to tell your kids that you killed their mother, or do you want somebody else to? Okay.
Dan continues to deny everything.
The police department is welcome to record this part. I have zero trust and zero confidence in the Broomfield Police Department.
He cast the net wide, blaming Kristil's family for his predicament.
And I don't care that this is recorded. They are perpetuating multi-generational toxicity and dysfunction. Don't say anything else. It's bad enough that they now have recorded that I think that the Grimsroots are intentionally trying to destroy me. And I have no doubt that all of these transcripts are being provided to the attorneys and new motions are being filed as we speak. But it fits the facts. They wanted me homeless. They want me destitute. And the next thing they're going to do, and I know it's coming, and it will happen probably the day the house closes, they'll file a new motion so I can't even get that money. Because everything that they've done has been to punish me based on horrible accusations. They think I actually did this to Kristil.
He extends this to the protection order he signed regarding his children.
They required me to sign mine. And again, I had absolutely no choice, because if I didn't sign it, I couldn't stay at the house, and I had literally nowhere else to go.
They gave you that right away?
Yeah, they gave me that the night Kristil died. Sign this form that you're not allowed to be around your children unsupervised. If you don't sign it, you're not allowed to be here.
But far from plotting his downfall, Kristil's family are devastated by this news, and they're asking one simple question. How did the police let it get this far?
So he's being arrested as a suspect.
Yes.
Are there other suspects?
No.
No other suspects. And Anthony?
He was verified in Utah.
When was that?
All day yesterday. Or all day Thursday.
All day Thursday. Why is Anthony... When was Anthony first contacted?
So...
Person to person. Like in person.
In person?
Yeah.
Was yesterday around midday.
Why did it take so long to find him?
We found him on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thursday. So our days weren't together.
Yeah.
It was Thursday afternoon.
How come he wasn't found in like October or November?
Because the entire time, since I first interviewed Dan back on November 16th, Anthony wasn't much of a suspect of mine, as much as Dan was. But I was waiting for particular evidence to come in, and we didn't have the time framing to get there yet.
So Dan's been the primary suspect since November.
I made the best decisions I could for the case at hand.
So you made the decision to not share that it wasn't Anthony and not share that you believe that Dan is the suspect of harassing her. Why make that decision? I'm sorry.
I know. I'm here to answer your
questions. And I know that's your job, and I know you've been on millions of cases, and I know that you've probably seen lots of things, and like you work statistically on cases, and you have intuition on people, and I get that. But why make that decision to withhold that information from her?
Because I didn't have enough information to actually come forward.
So it takes her being killed, then you get the information, and it's too late.
In this case, unfortunately, didn't give us the information we needed. Some of these companies didn't comply with my requests and demands for records for weeks.
The cops had little more than suspicion to go on until Kristil's death. Suspicions that weren't enough to accuse her husband. And they're also asking why. Why would Dan go to such lengths before murdering his target? A possible answer emerges as the investigators prepare for trial. When they run Dan's name through court databases, they discover a past temporary restraining order against him dating back to 2001. At the time, he was in college in Washington, D.C., and the one filing the order was his ex-girlfriend.
He was never physically violent with me. I don't even really remember him ever raising his voice. So there was nothing to alarm me that this was coming. And sorry, I'm a little nervous.
You're doing really well.
Yeah. So I think it was, like I said, a couple months I broke up with him a couple months into my freshman year. And he was pretty emotional. I would say sort of desperation would maybe be a word I would use to describe after the breakup of, please don't do this. So I started to get messages, and I'm not sure if this is in the police report. I may not have reported this because this person did turn out to be real, but I started to get messages from his roommate, and that person's name is Tom, on AOL Instant Messenger. And I know Tom is real because they were roommates. If I called him, Tom would sometimes pick up the phone. They each had a joint room and a joint phone. And Tom ended up being Dan, right? So all these people I'm going to tell you about end up being Dan Krug, not Tom. Yeah, even though Tom is a real person, he was not sending me these messages. So Tom, his role, I would say, was sort of to gain sympathy from me for Dan and continue to encourage me to communicate with Dan. So I would get messages like, Dan had a really bad day, and I'm not being I'm not sure that these are verbatim, right? But I'm like, from what I remember, it was messages to encourage me to either talk to Dan, reach out to Dan, or say, you know, like, he's having a bad day, can you connect with him, kind of thing. The other thing that, if I recall correctly, there was perhaps some indication that he was suicidal or was, because of the breakup, just really not doing well. So this, you know, made me keep communication up with Dan. So I was feeding him information.
Dan pretending to be one different person was bad enough when he was young and stupid and wanted his girlfriend back. What's more frightening is how it escalated.
One of the first things I remember is a group of my friends from our dorm had met, I don't even know how, some cadets from the Air Force Academy.
Sure.
And so we all went to, I think we went to a movie, something super innocuous, and there was like a group of us. I must have told Dan about that, and I think it was 2 or 3 days later, or the next day, I don't know, but I got a message from someone named Nick Clark. That's the name I recall. And Nick basically said, I'm a cadet at the Air Force Academy. I know you went out with these people. I don't know if he named them specifically, but I know you went out with these people, and I want you to know that he came back, or these people came back and said that you slept with him. And so now there's this rumor going around the whole academy that you're an easy target, kind of thing. So of course this is really alarming to me, not true, all that sort of thing. So myself and my friends go to the dorm room of these people that we had met from the Cadet Air Force Academy, and we confront them, and, you know, they're like, what are you talking about? This is, you know, complete BS. So they started to also ask questions like, you know, or they immediately questioned if this person really was a cadet. It was shortly after that I started to get these really disturbing phone calls. And so again, I had a landline too in my room that I think was part of a central campus phone system, so the last 4 digits were unique to my room. And the phone calls were, someone had bought a voice distortion, like the really deep, scary kind of voice machine that I guess you can speak into, and I don't know what these look like, but you could tell that's what I was hearing. We've had like a forensic psychologist or some sort of a psychological kind of reading sort of professional look at all these emails, and it's Dan, is what they said. And I said, and they said that there was a specific name for this. I think I forgot to tell you this, but they said there was a specific name for this kind of stalking, and it usually was like a first love situation and then a heartbreak. And I don't remember what the name was, but they had, you know, some kind of psychology to back this up.
Armed with this information, she got a temporary restraining order and the contact stopped. She never heard from Dan or anyone Dan was pretending to be again. The reason? In the summer of 2001, he met Kristil. He had a new obsession. And as Kristil began to drift away from him, he panicked. He wanted to keep her by any means possible, and Anthony Holland was the perfect scapegoat. But this fictional stalker was just driving her further away. She was heading towards divorce and full custody of their children. When she began to suspect him, he planned out her death. If he couldn't have her, no one could. In April 2025, Dan was found guilty of first-degree murder, stalking, and criminal impersonation.
Informed me that you all have reached a verdict. The consequences are unavoidable now. Daniel Krug knows that.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree.
Not even a flinch.
His defense team points to a lack of physical evidence, including DNA and blood on his clothing. But the digital evidence sways the jury.
Guilty of count number 2, stalking, extreme emotional distress. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of count number 4, criminal impersonation.
He's sentenced to life without parole. Meanwhile, Kristil's family continues to ask the question, could this horrible fate have been prevented?
There's no amount of justice that can bring her back. But it is a relief to know that the person who thought he was going to get away with it, with this convoluted alibi picture and trying to blame it on somebody else, that didn't happen.
The courtroom was filled with family and friends of Kristil's, many of them providing witness impact statements, reminding the court that Kristil's death has lasting effects on all their lives. Daniel Krug stared straight ahead, not moving, but hearing every word that was said.
He wanted to control her. He always wanted to control her. He wanted to continue to control her even after she no longer wanted to be with him. I don't use the word depravity very often, and I certainly don't use it lightly. But his actions in this case are an example of depravity.
Now Kristil's family can begin to heal and to honor the legacy of love that she left behind.
Well, now that this point is here, again, a certain burden is lifted from you, but you're still so emotionally involved in it that I think it's going to take a long time for everyone here to regain a semblance of normalcy in our lives again.
A GoFundMe has been set up for her children. Everyone deserves a healthy, safe relationship. If you or someone you know needs support, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is here 24/7. Call 1-800-799-SAFE 7233. Text START to 88788 or visit thehotline.org. What do you think about this tragic story? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay safe, keep up with our channel, and we'll see you very soon on The Decoder.